Yeah, this could get ugly. And next week, I don't want to look ahead to next week, but Detroit, and I don't know, you guys probably, they were hanging in. I assume they lost.
That's right. Yep.
If they beat this team, then it'll get really bad.
I've been saying.
You know what, Gunnar, you get to talk to your hero every week with Devin Caney being on the show, obviously. I get to talk to my hero in John McMullen, who's joining us right now from Las Vegas. That's what you call a transition, folks. And he's presented by Mesa Law and Associates. Need a tough injury lawyer? Call Mesa and Associates. John McMullen from Vegas, baby. Vegas. John, how are you, bud?
I'm doing well. Yeah, that was very professional, Mark. And much like, I don't know about Derek inviting Devin over. I don't know if I'm buying either of you two guys.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at that. John, we're all figuring out what the heck happened in this game tonight. Out there in Las Vegas. For the people that made the trip, congratulations, you went to Vegas. Not so much congratulations, you saw the Eagles put in this type of game. Everybody was feeling good in that opening drive, John, and then the rest of the game happened. What did Nick Sirianni say after the game about how well the opening drive went compared to the rest of the game?
Yeah, it was like 4 minutes in the desert. It was like a mirage in the desert. Everybody is excited. Not only did the Eagles go right down and score, but they scored the way the fans want them to score.
Yes.
Jalen Hurts under center. He's handing the football off in a traditional fashion, and that sets up the play action for Dallas Goedert. And then finally they throw it over the middle of the field to Kenny Gainwell for a touchdown. They never throw the football over the middle of the field. So it was like the football gods playing a trick on the Philadelphia fans. And then from that moment, the switch went on, and they went right back to being the Eagles of 2021, the exact same team.
So why? And, why? What would Nick Sirianni have to say for why that happened?
Well, first of all, I think it was interesting. For the first time, I'm not going to say he threw the defense under the bus, but he made allusions to the defense not doing its job. Fletcher Cox threw the defense under the bus, threw Jonathon Gannon under the bus. Will you guys hear his interview if you didn't get a chance to see it? Not good. I go back to training camp, and Nick told us this story about Frank Reich. Frank Reich started 1-4 in Indianapolis. You might remember it's the first time Nick hit the podium really hard. And he said, I'm doubling down. Frank said he's doubling down. People are looking at him. Everybody's looking at Nick Sirianni saying, what the heck is going on here? I don't know what the heck is going on here, because they don't look like they have a plan on the offensive side of the football, the defensive side of the football. This is what we were worried about with this young coaching staff coming to fruition. I don't think they know what the heck is going on. And I don't want people to look at these statistics, because this happens every week now. It's 30-7. The game's over.
Yep.
It's over. There's no sense of urgency for the Raiders. They're just playing out the clock, and the Eagles put up some yardage, and it doesn't look that bad on the final stat sheet. It was worse than you could have imagined. They were awful.
Hey, John, I can't let you off the hook that easy, man. You threw the bait out there, and now I've taken the bait. I keep hearing about this Fletcher Cox tirade. So you got to give us the Crib Notes version of what he said about Jonathon Gannon and the defense overall.
Well, we've known for a while that Fletcher's frustrated about the way he's being played, whether it's 5 technique or 4-eye technique. And, he's had a lot of success under Jim Schwartz being a 3 technique. And Jim just told him, go get the quarterback, this incredible aggressiveness. And now he's being asked to play a different way. And he's watching quarterbacks. What was Derek Carr today? 31 of 34.
Yeah.
You think about Derek Carr. So he misses 3 passes. One of them was the interception to Avonte Maddox. One of them was at the end of the half. I think Hunter Renfrow dropped the football on purpose because he realized the clock was coming down. They had to kick the field goal. There's one legit incompletion in the entire game for Derek Carr. And you got Fletcher Cox, and he's just basically fuming up there, saying he's not being asked to be aggressive. He's being passive. He's occupying blockers. He's really, really upset about the way he's being used. He's really upset about the way they play defense. And look, I'm torn on this. I got to be honest with you. They don't have the personnel to blitz. They don't have the personnel to play man-to-man coverage outside of Darius Slay. So Gannon's come up with this thought process of make these teams go 15, 16 plays, 10-plus plays all the time, and hope they make a mistake and you get off the field. That's exactly what happened on the first drive. The Raiders went right down the field.
96 yards.
Derek Carr made the one bad throw off the running back, interception, you're off the field. But that was it. It never happens any other time. It's death by 1,000 cuts. And I think players would rather get beat by the big play than be out there for 15 plays and just keep getting first down after first down after first down. Bottom line is they don't have the personnel, especially a linebacker, but also in the secondary.
Sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, John. But
go ahead.
That's going to be my follow-up question. And we talk about this. We've already talked about this on our show, which is, is it the players? Is it the lack of talent, or is it the coaching? And I'm sure it's a bit of both. But are you saying that you think that you would probably side more with Jonathon Gannon and his scheme or lack thereof in this situation over Fletcher Cox?
I know. I do side more with Gannon, and I know that upsets people because they haven't seen the success. But I understand his plan. I always say this with Gannon versus Sirianni, really. Because I understand what Gannon is trying to do. It doesn't work. It's ugly. It hasn't worked. But I have a complete understanding of what he's trying to accomplish. I have no idea what Nick's trying to accomplish. And to be honest, that first drive, which everybody's thrilled about, that's not what he wants to do. So he's doing that, in my estimation, to acquiesce the critics. And that you're not going to be a successful coach if you do that. So
well, how about sticking with what works? Like, that worked. So why wouldn't he do that more?
Well, he doesn't do it in the first place because, okay, think about week one, Mark. Nobody knew what to expect. The Eagles looked great. Little Chip Kelly vibes. Mm-hmm. Nobody knew what was going on. Atlanta looked flat-footed. You saw that in drive number one with the Raiders. They come out of this mini bye. The Raiders think they're going to see RPOs, slip screens, bubble screens, all that. And they come out and they see a traditional offense, and they look like a deer in the headlights. They're like, what's going on here? And then the adjustments start to come. We saw it after Atlanta. Everybody jumps on the Eagles bubble screens. Everybody understands they're not going over the top. If they try to go over the top, the quarterback's not accurate enough to hurt you. The same thing would happen if they played under center. It would probably be worse, though, because then you're asking the inaccurate quarterback to throw the football and play action all the time. So, look, it's a personnel issue before a coaching issue. But if you're talking Gannon versus Sirianni, at least I understand what Gannon's plan is. I don't even understand what Nick's plan is at this point.
All right,
Mark,
so,
you seem. Oh no, sorry, Deegan.
No,
Mark
ahead,
just looks fired up, so I was gonna let you get your thoughts out there. But Deegan, it's all you.
No, go ahead. No.
Just for me. I mean, in all honesty, John, I'm beyond frustrated with myself. I'm beyond frustrated just because, yes, it's what people have been calling for, and I couldn't help it. During the game, I was going back to Jason Kelce's speech, and I know some people dismissed it as more pandering, but I felt like he was fair and honest with people. Like, I think he was fair and honest with the questions he was asked. And when he talks about you can't act like the fans don't know what they're talking about. Well, sometimes they don't, but a lot of times they do. And I thought that's what, honestly, I know some people might not like that per se. I loved that part because that was the realest part. Some people want to push that aside because they want to build it up as this great, tribute to the fans. But it's what made that so honest. But guess what? Sometimes the fans are right a lot of the time. Sometimes media people are right a lot of the times. and putting Jalen Hurts in a situation where maybe traditionally he's been a lot more uncomfortable. He looked pretty comfortable when you were setting up the pass with the run, like that old cliche. And I saw a Jalen Hurts that looked like he could have run that offense a couple of more times throughout the game, even with Miles Sanders going out early in this game with the ankle injury. To me, that's a situation where you just keep on using it until it doesn't work anymore. And instead, rather than let it not work, you killed it. Rather than wait for the Raiders to kill it, you killed it yourself.
Yeah, the second drive they were backed up, so that affected things. They had a penalty at some points, and I don't think necessarily what happens is, I will agree, like the minute this team gets down,
Right.
it's everything's out the window. It's panic time. We got to get back. I've said it a lot. This team can't play from behind. Not only can't they play from behind, they don't want to play from behind because they know they don't have a chance when they're playing from behind. So it's almost this fight to take the lead. They were able to do it today. And, that Maddox interception was probably the big point of the game for them. They had to take advantage of it. They had to extend it to try to get to a 2-score lead, and maybe things stay in a more traditional fashion. But what I see with this coaching staff, and it's not just Nick, it's the entire offensive coaching staff. Okay, they get their scripted plays, and today they worked. And once they're over, they either get incredibly redundant or they go in a completely different direction when they basically look at the quarterback and say, okay, run around and make something happen. I mean, I don't want to blame it on youth. I don't want to blame it on inexperience because Nick has been an assistant coach in this league. He's been an offensive coordinator. Look, I think the personnel isn't great. I think that's fair. It's tough to play in this league consistently if you're getting quarterback play like the play they're getting. The receivers were bad again. Dallas Goedert was really good. Miles was good, but he was hurt early. The offensive line, once the game turned in a negative direction, it became a jailbreak, and I think the defense started to give up on Jonathon Gannon a little bit in the second half. And by the way, you can look at the desperation of this team with the 4th and 1 at their own 30, whatever it was. The onside kick. There's a little desperation as well. And that players see that.
Hey, John. I've had the fortune to cover this game a long time, and I've seen many scenarios like this. And the one thing that I'm really going to start looking for now, and it's already started, we've seen the frustration of Kelsey in physical gestures on the field the last 2 games. Now one of your team leaders, the highest paid player on your defense, Fletcher Cox, is speaking out. If this continues to snowball downward, you're going to get more and more players becoming a little bit braver speaking out, and it's going to have an adverse effect on everything they try to do when they step on a football field moving forward.
Yeah, and that's why I brought up that Frank Reich story that Nick tells, and because everybody's looking at him now. Everybody's looking at him and saying, all right, what are you going to do? This is falling apart. This is not going the way we expected it to go. And you're right. You see Jason Kelsey showing obvious frustration on the field. Fletcher Cox saying it in verbal form. These are big-time players. November 2nd is obviously the trade deadline. I would bet my bottom dollar that Fletcher hopes he's moved.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen because of his salary. This could get ugly. And next week, I don't want to look ahead to next week, but Detroit, and I don't know, you guys they were hanging in. I assume they lost.
That's right. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
If they beat this team, it'll get really bad.
I've been saying
I feel
that
like
for 2 days.
we're already there. We're like at the rock bottom. I don't know what's below rock bottom, but we might hit it next Sunday. John, I want to know, in terms of trades, I've heard, rumors or people speculating that the Eagles will try to make some moves, if not to fix this team and not turn it around by any means, because I don't think one trade is going to do that. But if you had to speculate, or have you heard anything about, aside from Fletcher Cox, any movement before the trade deadline?
Well, one trade could turn it around, but I refuse to talk about that person.
Well, now you have to talk about it. Now you have to talk.
Well, he doesn't. Deshaun Watson doesn't want to play here, so he hasn't waived his no trade clause. So the Eagles are not in that conversation. They want him, but they're not in that conversation. Now, if he changes his mind, because it doesn't, but Miami wants him badly, and that's where he wants to be, and that's ultimately where I think he's going to be. And I'm not talking about the off the field stuff, just the on the field stuff. But as far as trades and the Eagles go, I mean, there's not, like I said, Fletcher Cox is too expensive. So a lot of the veteran players, one guy I look at is Steve Nelson, because he's cheap. He's on a 1-year deal. He's not a long-term option at quarterback. He's sort of a Band-Aid, and he's playing well. Well, except for today. He played poorly, but he had been playing well up until today. And there's a ton of injuries across this league at the cornerback position. He's proven himself to be a starter, not only here, but in Pittsburgh and Kansas City. I think he's a guy that maybe you can get something back for. And that's what Howie Roseman should consider at this point, because this team is not a contender. So if you have a veteran player who's not going to be here next year, and you can get something for him, why not? And people talk about compensatory picks. Well, remember, compensatory picks have to do with how many free agents you bring in and how many you lose. For years, the Eagles were losing more than they would bring in because they thought they were a contender. Now they're going to bring in a bunch of free agents because they're going to have a ton of money. Carson Wentz is off the books. They can sign a lot of players. They're not going to be in the mix for compensatory picks. So everybody goes nuts about that. You don't have to worry about it.
All right. I mean, that's of all the things that I'm worried about right now with this team. That'll go way down the bottom.
Inside baseball there. I get frustrated with compensatory pick questions.
Copy that. What do you think is going through Jeffrey Lurie's mind right now, John? Can we play mind reader for a second? Howie Roseman's still here, most likely going to have those 3 first-round picks. Nick Sirianni is your head coach and your play caller right now. I mean, you have to be getting frustrated as an owner as well, despite the fact that you might also be thinking, oh, it's still the first half of the season, second half of the season should get easier. What do you think Jeff Lurie is thinking right now?
Well, I assume Jeffrey's here, but I haven't seen him, so I can't guarantee it. But the time between the end of the game and Nick Sirianni's press conference was very lengthy. So typically that's when Jeffrey or Howie or both will grab the coach before he goes into the press conference. I can't imagine he's happy. But, Jeffrey Lurie hired this guy, and he was off the radar, and he never had a head coaching interview before, never mind anybody talking about him becoming a head coach. So Jeffrey's kind of married to Nick Sirianni. I think anybody who's thinking that this is going to be a one and done, the only way that happens if they end up at 2 wins at the end of the year or 3 wins. And I mean, in other words, things go colossally poorly. Otherwise, he's going to get an opportunity to get better players to fit his schemes that he wants to run. And maybe you see improvement. And I do think you will see improvement if this team got 1 or 2 linebackers on the defensive side. And I hate to say it, a quarterback on the offensive side.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that. It's going to be a while, though, unfortunately.
Mark,
I just feel like it's going to be terrible.
I'm concerned for Mark's well-being at the moment.
Well, I mean, it's, you need tough love at times. And, we're 2-5. We're 7 games through this season. And look, you're either honest with yourself or you're not. And I'm, I know exactly how Nick Sirianni judges quarterbacks because he's told me and other people on multiple occasions, accuracy is number one, decision making is number two, off schedule ability is number three, number four is arm strength. You check one of those boxes, number three, with Jalen Hurts. The Eagles believe his arm strength is fine for what you need in the NFL. And that's, people think about Aaron Rodgers throwing it 70 yards. You don't throw the football 70 yards in a typical NFL game. It's not about Hail Marys. If you can throw the ball 45 yards and get it out on time and hit people down the field, that's fine. So they believe he's got an NFL level arm. They do not believe he has the accuracy to play in this league, and they do not believe he has the decision making to play in this league at this point. And I can't disagree with them.
Hey, John, if it continues to go its current course, how long do you think it will be before we start seeing maybe Gardner Minshew playing a series, playing a quarter, playing a half, and eventually being now announced as the starter?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen because the Eagles don't think he's the answer either, and they don't want that added controversy on top of the controversy they already have. I think the organization now firmly understands that their long-term quarterback is probably not here right now, and he's either going to be gotten via trade or in the draft. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like very early in the process, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a great quarterback draft.
No.
So, they might have to go a year or two with bridge type quarterbacks. And who knows, Gardner Minshew can get into that equation later. But I think Jalen's going to continue to play unless he gets injured. And, it's going to be a tough season.
John, are you at least spending the night out there in Vegas, or are you coming right home?
Half and half. I'm leaving at 5 in the morning, so I'm not going to sleep tonight.
There you go,
Absolutely
Johnny
not.
boy.
Yes, that's what we want to hear, John.
Why go to Vegas if you're going to leave that early?
Well, Deacon, I've done all my. I'm only here for the game, and I'm leaving. I'm not here for vacation. I've been here many times. I've been here many times for vacation.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but how many times have you been on the company dime though? That's a little different. It's a little different.
That's true, and that's why I'm coming home early. Guess that's why.
No, see, my former employer used to do that to us. Hey, we need you back on the earliest flight possible. We fought that until the point we decided when we were coming back home, so we would catch 10 a.m., 11 a.m. flights, get back home a little bit later. Because if you wanted to go out,
the problem
with
Vegas
dinner,
now is, the problem with Vegas now is it's impossible to get here, and it's even more difficult to get out. It used to be easy, but now that there's a casino in every city, they've changed the business model and they've made it really, really difficult. So there's not one flight out that doesn't have a connection, which is amazing to me.
That's ridiculous. Oh,
I know.
Yeah.
John,
Not
safe
one.
travels, and have fun tonight. However much fun you can, that would still put you at the airport at 5 a.m. So good luck to you, my friend.
Play a slot machine for me, would you?
I've already done that.
John McMullen joining us.
And real quick, I came out like the Eagles, if anybody wants to.
John McMullen joining us, brought to us by the great people with Mesa Law and Associates. Need a tough injury lawyer, call Mesa and Associates. And by the way, you don't even go to Vegas when you got a place like Ocean Casino Resort, folks. Go for the live show. Go for the win. Ocean Casino Resort. When we come back, there is one person that had a very, very lucky day today. Probably the luckiest guy in America right now. We'll talk about him when we come back here on the live postgame show.